The South African Reserve Bank is seeking a declaratory order against Public Protector for the alleged abuse of office over the CIX Absa report. This was laid out in SARB's replying affidavit to challenge the Public Protector's findings over an apartheid era bailout of a bank bought by Absa. In its replying affidavit, the South African Reserve Bank accuses Mkhwebane of ex post facto justification of the report in her answering affidavit. In a 100-page affidavit filed on Friday, Mkhwebane had stuck to her guns on her remedial action of recovering 1.25 billion rand from Absa by the Special Investigative Unit. She said that the findings that Absa must repay is not based on the CIX report, but on her finding that the donation of 1.125 billion rand of state funds to Absa was unlawful. South African Reserve Bank says that the Public Protector's answering affidavit is an ex post facto justification of the report that relies on new reasons not outlined when she published the report, that it attached documents that were not included in the record of proceedings. South African Reserve Bank also alleged that the affidavit contains false statements and that advice from economic expert was not taken during the Public Protector's investigation, but after a report was taken on review. It also says that the affidavit fails to address accusations of bias against the South African Reserve Bank and ulterior purpose in her investigation. For all these reasons, the SA Reserve Bank is seeking a declaratory order from the court that the Public Protector abused her office. Advocate Mkhwebane had on Friday filed a hard-hitting answering affidavit explaining why she feels that her remedial action is justified. We're just reiterating that story a bit, so we are waiting to get somebody to give us some more information on the story at hand. But just going through that once again, the report that the Public Protector in her answering affidavit filed was saying that we are now joined on the phone line. We are joined by Zamo Mdladla, Radical Economic Transformation Coalition. Oh, very good evening to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us here on ANN7. Just give us your reaction to the Public Protector's answering affidavit.
Thank you, and good evening to you, Stephanie, and the viewers at home. Really, our position from the Radical Economic Transformation Coalition is less to try and have a position on the specific legals that are put in there. We will trust that the courts will adjudicate fairly. But from the outlook of where we are as a totality of South Africa, we really need to be honest and realize that we need to have the economic conversation again. The Reserve Bank has failed in this narrow mandate since its beginnings in 1921. It has never been able to protect the currency, control inflation. I mean, to have one example, we've got Eskom applying for 19.9% increase in electricity prices. Please tell me, what can the Reserve Bank do to push back inflation if electricity goes up by 20%? Little or nothing. So in terms of the legality of it, perhaps the Public Protector is wrong, but when we look at it from the sentiment point of view, she's right on point. The Reserve Bank mandate can no longer remain as narrow as what it has been, especially with our inequality gaps in this country, the poverty, the unemployment. Something has to change, and we need to do it radically and drastically ourselves and do it now, rather than to keep on waiting and hoping things will come right from inclusive growth and whatever else that is being purported and thrown about.
Definitely. But thank you so much for joining us on the phone line. Zamo Mdladla, Radical Economic Transformation Coalition, joining us on the phone line, just giving us his input on the South African Reserve Bank affidavit that was filed and also the answering affidavit by the Public Protector.